for Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. The first item on the agenda is open forum. Do we want to let people know that Ann is not going to be here? Okay.
Okay, she's okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
she's just not attending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So do members of the commission have anything for open forum? Matt?
No, ma'am.
Do members of the audience have anything for open forum? Okay. Moving on to our other 7 p.m. agenda item, a request to install a boardwalk by the Westford Conservation Trust at Saltbox Farm.
Brief history. Last
You
year.
can sit down.
Say who you are.
Sit down.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Just for the
Rich
record.
Strastis. I'm president of the Westford Conservation Trust. Last year, we built a half-mile trail from our Hildreth Street property to Burns Hill as a connector to connect to other trails that'll eventually go all the way to, that currently do go all the way to Boston Road. The trail was built with voluntary efforts, including a capstone project student from WA. And we found that the beginning of the trail is only usable about 8.5 months out of the year. You can see these pictures of water, which occurs from anywhere from February until mid-May. It's currently dry now. And 2 boardwalk sections, part of it on Westwood Conservation Trust land, part of it on a trail easement on the Saltbox farmland. The total length of the 2 boardwalks is about 80 feet. And we'd like to do that to make this a 12-month-a-year trail. And the easements exist. Matt tells me that we can do a joint NOI between the Conservation Trust and the Conservation Commission, who is part of the Saltbox Farm conservation restriction. They're one of the owners of the restriction. So there are shared interests. And I'm looking for permission to go forward with the NOI and build this boardwalk and make this a
I don't have
usable
any
trail
trouble
12
with
months a year.
I had one question.
that. Yeah, go ahead.
This is more curiosity than anything. So you're saying the beams are pressure treated. What are the boards themselves? Are they pressure treated too?
Everything is, except for the decking, which is Trex-like.
Oh, that's what I was asking. But the decking is.
So the decking that's walked on is going to be
Yes.
the Trex?
Yes. But everything else, the frame and the beams that act as an anchor are all pressure treated.
Okay.
Yeah, and so this is I just want to scroll back up to my email because the information was in there. The construction of boardwalks in the CR, boardwalks, bridging, and other structures necessary for regulatory compliance with trails in wetland areas are also permissible with the prior approval of the grantee. This conservation restriction is co-held both by the commission and also the Sudbury Valley trustees. I had preliminary discussions with representative of the Sudbury Valley trustees. They were on board, but wanted to defer to the commission first with respect
I
to
don't have any
approval.
trouble with this.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience?
Is it wide enough to be okayed by accessibility issues?
Yes, it's 4 feet. It's I
Like
think
the planked area.
I
is
think
wide?
it's 36 inches. 30. Yes, it's wide.
Okay, good enough.
The boardwalk will be just about 4 feet wide.
Okay.
And the trail easement is 8 feet wide.
We'll meet the standards. Okay.
Would the standards require any handrailing?
No, as it is kind of just a low boardwalk. It's
Okay.
it's at grade. Just above grade.
Okay.
No streams being crossed, so there's no lower area.
Okay.
No
Can
trouble.
I have a motion to support this project going forward in the NOI process?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
You're all set?
All set.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our 7:05 PM agenda item, continuation of public hearing and issue order of conditions for McKeel, 73 Brookside Road.
Yes.
Good evening.
My name is Magid Mikhail. I'm the owner of Willows Pizza or 73 Brookside Road.
I can up.
Okay,
So,
sorry.
in the meeting packet is the updated plans that the commission received some hard copies of at the May 10th meeting. Additionally, stormwater, the Mass DEP stormwater checklist was also provided, updated based upon the revised plans. The planning board also concluded their site plan review. As the disturbance was less than 1 acre, they no longer needed a stormwater management permit. But whereas they do need to meet DEP stormwater standards, the stormwater BMPs didn't just disappear. And if there's no questions regarding any of that, we could just move to discussing the draft special conditions.
No questions or comments?
Nope.
Any questions or comments about the order of conditions?
Pretty exacting.
Okay. Can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank
you're
you.
all set. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Things for signatures.
So, moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item, public hearing.
Could we do
Sure.
7 Juneberry? If we could take something out of order, just
Sure.
as we have a couple minutes.
Okay.
If we could take the request for certificate of compliance for 334-1205 for 7 Juneberry Lane. This certificate of compliance came before the commission last year. There was some renaturalization as portions of the site were developed not in accordance with the approved plan of record. Restoration and conservation posts were required to be installed and to occur. The current homeowner has provided some photos of the restoration areas being renaturalized. This is off of the basketball court, the conservation post, also off the basketball court. There was a gravel bed area which was to be renaturalized, and it was growing in. And then there was a tree house, I think maybe off the property, and that's been renaturalized as well. So I would recommend the commission issue the certificate of compliance for 334-1205.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did we want to do the other COC while we're at it?
Yeah, we can certainly do that as well. Let me just get this in.
Thank you.
The other certificate of compliance request is for 334-1249 at 20 Keys Road. This was for, the order of conditions was issued for the reconstruction of a failing septic system. And in the health department's records was the as-built sewage disposal system. That plan was included in the commission's packet. The system appears to have been installed and consistent with the approved plans, and if there's no questions, would recommend the commission issue the certificate of compliance.
Jim?
I have one question. I looked on the GIS system, and it looks like that there's a a building of some sort of shed or something that was right on top of where the septic system is. Is that gone?
It is removed.
Okay, good enough.
I think it was a temporary garage.
Oh, okay.
type.
It just showed a
Yeah,
rectangular shape.
exactly. Yeah, I was out there this afternoon, and
Okay. Nothing there.
it looks it's kind of like a gravel bed, but you
Okay.
know, in
Great.
terms of it's no longer there, and
All right.
I imagine the future homeowners will be coming before the commission with reconstruction of the house as it's a little dilapidated.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-1249, 20 Kais Road?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I picked that up from you.
I'll reach out tomorrow.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, now moving on to the 7:10 PM agenda item. It's a public hearing for Stefanowitz, 4 Tallard Road.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 14th, 2023, at 7:10 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of John and Patricia Stefanowitz for the abandonment of the existing septic tank and leaching field and installation of a new septic tank and leaching field within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 4 Tallard Road.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Ritchie from Civil Solutions. I'm here on behalf of John and Patricia Stefanowitz. They are the owners of 4 Tallard Road. They're in the process of selling the house, or preparing to sell the house. The septic system was inspected and it failed the Title V inspection. So 4 Tallard, I believe it's the second house in on the left off of Concord Road. The existing system is here in the front yard. The existing septic tank is here in the front yard. We've got a wetland comes down the side, wraps around the back. All the whole neighborhood is surrounded by wells, or served by wells. So we've got the 100-foot well arc, the 100-foot well arc for the neighbors, and the 100-foot well arc. So we're basically proposing the new septic system here in the front yard. We're basically turning it 90 degrees from what it is now, just to move it off the wetlands that much more. We've got the edge of the paved driveway up here. Proposed new septic tank and leach field. The system, it has been approved by the Board of Health. I mean, it's pretty much shoehorned in there between the wetlands and the driveway. The 100-foot buffer zone runs through here. So the edge of the leaching area is 87 feet off the wetlands here at its closest point. Here it's just outside it.
So maximum feasible compliance.
Yes.
And the existing area is all grass lawn?
Yeah, so the whole front lawn here, it's all grass, a couple of maple trees, I believe they're Norway maples, but everything's grassed up to basically here. There's a brush line or a pachysandra or something along here. But we won't be doing anything. The existing system here, this area will just be left in the ground just to become inert. In the area where the new system is, it'll be removed. The hay bale line of those straw wattles is 75 feet off the wetland, so that'll be the closest we'll be working. And again, the leaching area is 87 feet off.
Any questions from the commission?
And it looks like it's sloped towards the wetlands, right?
Yeah, so the front is pretty flat, but it drops off fairly steep over here on the side. The whole lot is basically pitched. The whole road goes from Concord Road down. I think probably the low point in the neighborhood may be in this area here.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? Any questions or anything from you? Okay, so if we continue, conditional negative?
Yep.
Okay, Can I have a motion for conditional negative determination of applicability?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you.
Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Moving on to our, thank you, our 7:15 agenda item. The public hearing, continued public hearing and issue order of conditions for Max Management LLC 8 Di Donato Drive. Good evening.
My name is Walter Erickson. I'm from Max Management LLC. And we had our hearing a few weeks ago and proposed order of conditions. I don't know if the commission has any other conditions, questions for me.
Jim?
Reading through it, I had some difficulty trying to figure out exactly how the trail would be marked. I'm concerned with vegetation being used to mark it, because vegetation can just get cut with a lawnmower and it disappears, and then all of a sudden you have no trail markings. But boulders or 4x4 inch wooden posts would be fine. I understand you.
I did discuss that with Matt today, and I think boulders would be good because they would blend in the woods.
And they're permanent.
And they're permanent. So
Yeah, I like that sounds good. And then the other,
Just for clarification, you mean the edges of the trail easement, not along the trail itself?
either the trail or the trail easement, either way. The trail easement obviously is gonna be wider, but.
Yeah, well, I just,
If it marks the trail, that'd be okay. I just don't want the trail to go away.
okay. And, okay.
And then the other one I had was near the end. I had some difficulty trying to understand exactly where the wetland resource area do not disturb signs were gonna go along the limit of work to the north.
I can pull up the plans for that, Jim.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we were talking about the erosion control barrier or the 50-foot no work zone, or to the north, I think the property line is actually there before you get to the 50-foot line.
Right. So the limit of,
Where would the?
so
Do not
the
disturb.
limit of, so just the orientation plan, north arrow is top of the plan. Works out for once. And so the,
I wasn't sure if the straw wattles is the limit of work, or whether it's the 50-foot limit of work.
the straw wattles is the limit of work and the limit of clearing. So the language in the special condition, along the limit of work to the north and west of the dwelling. So north of the dwelling would be along the property line. Also in this, and then the west of the dwelling is this area in here.
So essentially, the markers would go along the erosion control barriers?
Yes.
Okay, we say
Yep.
that's clear, because that's on the plan.
Right, and then in this area where they're staying out of the 100-foot vernal pool buffer, once again, the limit of work is the extent of clearing, and that's where we would be expecting them, approximately 50 feet,
So north and west along the erosion control barrier.
Would you say that the last area you highlighted was, would that be considered north or east?
West.
This section would be, it's along the 100-foot vernal pool buffer.
Okay.
That's the, and that's the clarifier in there as well. Kind of the second sentence, the vernal pool 100-foot buffer boundary shall be delineated by signs with the same label installed on trees approximately every 50 feet. So again, we're trying to distinguish we're installing the conservation posts at the limit of work within the buffer where work is occurring, and then also protecting that 100-foot vernal pool buffers to limit disturbance, any future disturbance in there as well. So I can certainly,
We put in a sentence, just saying it's along the in the plan of record along the erosion control barrier?
Yeah, you can do that. Can certainly clarify.
Jim, going back to the trail easement, or the demarcation of the trail, with your comment about vegetation, was that actually a suggested amendment to remove the word vegetation from the
Yes.
conditions?
Leave stones, fence, posts, things like that.
Yeah, but just remove the vegetation
Vegetation, yeah.
to avoid confusion.
Vegetation goes away real easy.
Okay,
Number 52.
And that comment is on,
Yeah, it comes up a couple times, you know,
on through page A and page,
conditions 27 and 44.
it's on page A, B, D, and E.
find it, there's a finding.
clear?
So, yeah, I can remove that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other
No.
comments? So can I have a motion to issue the order of conditions as amended?
Modify as amended, sure.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. All set.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Very
you.
welcome.
Okay.
I have things to say.
Continuing on to our 7:20 PM agenda item, it's a continuation of public hearing for Franklin, 31 Bridge Street. Good evening, Chris.
They were, don't have much to report. They were out to survey the front of the property on Bridge Street because there's that pool that wasn't on the plan before.
Yeah, the wetland south of Bridge Street, opposite of the existing structure. That was not shown on the plan of record. I did share my email correspondence with the engineering firm who did the who prepared the existing conditions plan, and they responded later this afternoon that they would be getting to it the beginning of next week. So I'm anticipating having, you know, the existing conditions plan with the additional wetland resource south of Bridge Street being shown, but also kind of having the plan, the you know, the general site plan of, you know, where things are to be stored, where you know, where the equipment's to be stored, where parking's to be, where materials, and, you know, so that there is a definitive plan of record that we can then follow up with, you know, we can follow up and enforce, you know, if things are not as, you know.
Not kept the way
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
supposed
and
to
that
be.
nothing
as agreed.
additional, and that nothing additional is brought there without our agreement.
So the commission should have, like I said, speaking with the engineer of record, he's, will be working on it and should be having something for the commission's next meeting on the 20th.
Oh, that's good.
28.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah, he
the 28th
said it
works for
better
you?
than I could have ever said
Okay.
it.
so can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to June 28th?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bet you got more from that conversation. I had
There
a
you go.
conversation with it, it was like,
I know what you're
Okay,
Jinx it.
okay. Moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, there's a public hearing for Iron Tree Service, 1 Pole Lane.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 14th, 2023 at 7:25 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Tim Donahue, Iron Tree Service, for the removal of 1 pine and 1 maple tree within 100 feet of bordering vegetative wetlands at 1 Pole Lane.
Michael Bonner from Iron Tree Service. Tim couldn't make it tonight, so I'm just covering for him. So I have pictures in his description of the trees, but I personally haven't seen them. but apparently at this property, there's a double-leader pine that has a weak attachment that we feel should be removed because it's in danger to the house, and a maple that's growing like a smaller maple that's growing directly into the back of the garage. That's only going to continue to be an issue for the garage. I believe you guys have been out to the site together. This one?
Yeah, this was last year, I think. A similar request in a similar location. It was for the removal of, I think, a couple tupelo trees that were growing as understory to this pine tree and exhibiting tropism.
What's this distance from the resource area?
It's probably about 70 feet. And again, this is the pine tree of.
Yeah, I can see where it is, so I have.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely.
then the maple, I think, is on the far side of the garage.
It's got quite
I have no
a...
further.
Plenty of other trees around, so.
Yeah, and, it'll certainly
Plenty there.
revegetate, the area. And the trees to be removed are on the northerly side of the wetland, so we're just kind of increasing the sun to the house and the existing disturbed areas.
I have no trouble with this.
Fine.
No questions? Okay. Any comments or questions from the audience? Can I have a motion to conditional or just,
There's no condition.
okay. Can I-
If the, 10 foot of a snag be left, afterwards, yeah.
Sure, yeah, whatever you guys think, just send it to Tim. He said that you guys might have some ideas like that. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put that in
Can I have a
writing, so
motion?
we'll have it.
Yeah, so it's a conditional negative determination.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's actually another one.
Yeah, stay there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They're very popular tonight.
Moving on to our 7:30 agenda item, public hearing and issue order of conditions for Eubank, 4 Great Elm Way.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 14th, 2023, at 7:30 p.m. in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Ryan Eubank for the removal of 2 pine trees within bordering vegetative wetlands at 4 Great Elm Way.
Once again, Michael Bonner from Iron Tree, covering for Tim Donahue, who put in for this. Looks like they're looking to remove 2 pine trees. One of them has already partially failed and has a large split in it. So I can even see from the picture that he provided me, it's definitely, surprised it hasn't fallen yet, to be honest. So it's heavily compromised. And the other tree doesn't have necessarily a structural damage, but it's very severely leaning. And obviously white pines, knowing the species with a shallow root system, leaning in the direction of the property, it's not an ideal situation.
So what's his distance?
It's in the wetlands.
Oh.
So that's why it's a notice of intent as opposed to a
okay.
request for determination. I really wanted it to be an RDA.
So this one is in the wetland?
Yes.
Is it gonna hit the house?
Yes.
Okay.
I was out there, so looking at the photo, the edge of the wetlands is
The edge of the lawn?
just beyond, it's actually a retaining wall, which is
So typically, if we did something like that in the resource area, we have them cut it and leave
Leave
it, whether we leave a snag, but the rest of it, we usually
as
opposed to,
I think a crane was proposed to be used from the front driveway of the
Yep.
property.
I think laying it down with a crane would cause probably
I can see
more
some of the
it would cause
branches
more
and that
damage than it would be if we
ground and-
probably took it out of there.
Yeah, I think
Honestly.
they were proposing to remove, all but, a 10-foot snag, 10, 15-foot
Okay.
snag. Just again, these are probably 120, 150-foot pine trees, and putting it somewhere is gonna
It's problematic.
crush much more desirable.
Okay.
So it's one of those, it's the best, it's certainly.
things around it are gonna grow up and
Exactly.
Probably
it's
go
not
up
gonna open
better.
it up to evasives any more than it
I
already
think
is?
so.
Okay.
It's very well vegetated in the
Okay.
wetland
Okay.
No DEP
Easy
file.
way out.
No file number yet, no?
No DEP file number was issued by the state, so we unfortunately can't close the public hearing at this time. But if I was able to prepare the draft special conditions, if there's any questions, I can certainly,
Any issue with that? Okay.
cannot issue it without a
So we
DEP
could
file
just-
number.
We can just
We can
discuss
agree.
and make sure that they're ready to go.
To do it at our next meeting.
Right.
Yep.
No, they look fine.
Okay. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to June 24th?
So moved.
28th.
What?
28th,
28th?
yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that something Tim would need to come to that one as well, or?
Probably not.
I think, yeah, probably not.
If
We're
you
good
see it
with the
ahead of
orders.
time.
We've seen them. We don't have any comment. You don't have any comment. It's just a matter of procedure.
So you probably do not have to be here. You'll just clear it with him.
Okay, sounds good. All right,
It wouldn't happen until that day.
all right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, moving on to the request for certificate of compliance for Eubank, 4 Great Elm Way.
As I was preparing, looking into finding plans for this property for this for the previous public hearing, I did observe a outstanding order of conditions from 1992 for the construction of a timber retaining wall at the rear of the property abutting the bordering vegetated wetlands. It's
Before my time.
What did you say?
Before my time.
Oh, Chet's on it. And so, here's the, this was the plan from the file. The retaining wall was to be installed in this area. Upon my site visit to review the pine trees, the retaining wall appears to be in the location consistent with the approved plan. And, it's a matter to try and avoid the having an outstanding order in the event, the homeowner needs to ultimately sell. We were able to work to request a certificate of compliance, and I recommend the commission issue it.
Okay, can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-0507?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So I spoke to you over the phone, man, about 73 Brookside. Got caught in a downpour and I couldn't get out of there quick enough, so I think I might have missed it.
Yes, that was issued.
This is my first time doing this, so
That's okay.
don't grill me if I'm...
I know.
Because I called you because the homeowner was dying to remove all those trees on that left side there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You gotta go
Could you state your name for the
Yeah,
record,
sure.
just,
You gotta go through the right channels. So David Pina with Benfica Construction. I'm handling the demo of the building. And he asked me to find someone to do the tree removal as well. So I said, well, let me talk to Matt because I have no idea what they got planned and what's already been, he has failed to include me in a lot of the stuff that he's been.
Right, so the public hearing, and the permitting process, that public hearing was closed.
Yeah.
The order of conditions was issued.
Okay.
In terms of kind of going forward and, looking to start, I would recommend connecting with him, getting the approvals from both the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board.
Okay.
And at that point, kind of making sure that all of the prior to, alteration, prior to site works,
Correct.
all those special conditions are have been complied with and are satisfied.
Correct.
Prior to
Yeah.
any work being done out there.
That's what I told him because he was anxious to get all the trees out of
And
there.
so, if he has, certainly if he has question, reach out to both the town planner and myself, and we can,
Okay.
kind of identify the ones that need to be addressed, but, I don't know if it's something that the commission needs to discuss or?
I mean, I saw I briefly reviewed what you sent me on the order of conditions. I just wanted to be clear with him that.
Go ahead.
Well, we issued that order of conditions, so it just needs to comply with the order as issued, or come
Okay.
back and seek an amendment to
Yeah,
it.
or minor modifications,
Yeah,
right?
or minor yeah.
If that something needs to be, altered and, the rationale
You just
for
have to
it.
follow what it says.
Sorry?
You just have to follow what it says on the order of conditions.
Okay.
Yeah, like if the erosion controls need to be in or
Right. So
whatever.
all the
Correct.
directions will be in there, and if you have questions, you can ask at the office.
Okay.
So he just got his order of conditions issued today.
Okay.
There's an appeal period. I assume he'll wait till the end of that before he starts you working. Is that the plan?
Correct, yeah, there's more to this than meets
You're
the eyes.
just doing the
'cause
demolition.
I'm just doing the demo, and then he approached me and said, can you find someone to do the tree removal?
Oh.
And I said, sure, I can, but I said, I don't think we can touch anything until.
Yeah, not.
He was a little unfamiliar with the process, and not that I'm experienced, but I have a little bit of, a little bit of background.
In
in
terms
this,
of,
so.
certainly, there's a 10-day appeal period from the date the order is issued. I intend to issue it tomorrow, 10 business days from that, and then, start making sure that all the things that need to all the things that are required to
Be in
occur
place
prior to any disturbance, any alteration of the site, that needs to occur.
So the area that was marked out to be grubbed, that's all been approved to be removed?
Yes.
Okay, that was my
Yep. The
main concern.
the plan of record is what was approved.
What you sent me?
Yep.
Okay, because I did review that area, okay.
73 Brookside, I'll give you my
Correct.
orders.
Yeah, I think I sent you the draft special condition.
You have it?
If not, you
It
can
was,
have it,
I think I got the email that you sent me, I don't know if that's in there. Again, this is, I'm an amateur at this, so bear with me. Okay.
Just
I'll review this and I'll get with
Ask
Mike.
before you do, and you won't get burnt.
That's what I told Mike, because he was ready to get some,
Yeah.
tree climber in there to start cutting things down. I'm like, whoa, you can't just jump on this without, so.
Much better to ask for permission than forgiveness.
That's what I told him.
Yeah, much.
That's what I told
Okay.
him, so. Okay. All right, if I have any questions, I'll reach out to you.
Certainly.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I missed it.
Okay, the next agenda item is CSX, formerly Pan Am Railways, the right-of-way vegetation management.
Over the past 3 years or so, I've been in contact with Keith Morris. He's the environmental consultant that Pan Am Railways hired. And he wasn't sure if, in the past year, CSX has bought out Pan Am Railways, and he didn't know if he was going to be hired on by CSX or not. Turns out he was, and he got he sent us the notification about 2 months ago.
I think it was the end of March.
Yeah, that Matt shared with me. And there's an agreement between the town and the railroad that they're supposed to allow me, one person, to
I know, I
accompany
think
them
that's so
along
funny.
for the spraying. And it's been working out for the past 3 years. But then this year, being CSX, apparently they have some different, some paperwork, whether it's reliability releases or whatever. So I told them, I'm fine with that, I'll sign your liability release, just get it to me. Well, they don't have it, they have to go someplace and get it. So effectively, they were saying no for this year. So I let the town
Because they
manager-
couldn't get you the paperwork.
Right, they didn't get, and they knew about this, months and months
Yeah.
ago. But anyway, I let Matt and the town manager know, because they're the town manager, Jody, was the signature on the agreement with the Pan Am Railways. So, I don't know, I guess you sent them an email that indicated the displeasure of the town, and that they really got to do this correctly.
Right. I have yet to, if you're finished, I can continue. So I've yet to actually hear back about, what is needed for, a monitor from the commission to observe. I will, follow
To be
back.
indemnified and held harmless if you harm yourself.
Yeah, that's effectively what I want to tell them, is that I'll accept whatever risk there are, sitting in the truck and watching.
Keith Morris did respond to me that later this day. Whereas portions of the railroad right-of-way goes through areas subject to protection because of, or wellhead protection areas, they're only allowed to treat within those areas every other year. So he did inform me that they treated 2 of the 5 linear miles within Westford. All of it was outside the wellhead protection areas, which also coincide with the wetland resource areas. And that would have been nice to have going into it, that they weren't treating within, the commission's jurisdiction. But again, as Jim mentioned, we're still waiting to hear back on what is needed, and, that was frustration on a day.
Yes.
And we had put it in their order of conditions the last time.
Yeah, in the negative determination of applicability, there is language, a commissioner shall be notified at least 24 hours in advance of the right-of-way vegetation spraying to observe compliance with the marking and spray zones throughout the right-of-way. And, back on April 10th, I reached out to Keith, reminding him, and, we got day of, and oops. So
Yeah.
I'm frustrated, but there's an opportunity for better communication next time.
You might put it on your calendar,
I have
like
tried-
2 months ahead, and say in anticipation of, we don't expect.
He did, because
No.
they notified us back in March.
Yeah,
that
'cause
they
we
were
don't
gonna-
have, we don't have any,
About the what?
The additional paperwork.
Oh, no, nothing about that. That just
and
showed
so
up on the
it's,
day of.
it's communicating with, you need to, this is a condition of approval, in the negative determination of applicability, and as such, it needs to be complied with, and, a
you
good faith
you
effort.
got away with it last year.
A
but
good
not-
faith effort, needs to be made, so.
Okay, but if you give them plenty of notice, a month or two ahead, okay.
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 Okay. The next agenda item is to ratify enforcement orders for Cloverleaf Lane, DEP file number 3341769.
I issued 2 enforcement orders, I forget the date now, I think it was the 26th, so it was the day after the commission's last meeting, for the unpermitted removal of vegetation within 50 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands, in violation of the order of conditions that was issued for the subdivision. I'm coordinating with the homeowners and the developer to hold a special meeting virtually so that all parties can attend. We can discuss what's the commission can discuss the next steps with the homeowner, with the developer, and work to resolve the issue.
Okay.
But as I did issue I issued the enforcement order at the next commission's meeting. It needs to be ratified by the commission. So if I could have motions to ratify the 2 enforcement orders.
I move we ratify the 2 enforcement orders for 3341769.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item, a request for approval of planting plan and minor modification for Hoagland 30 Magnolia Drive.
I can certainly speak to this one as well. This order of conditions was issued by the commission, I think at the beginning of last year, for the construction of a pool within an existing lawn area behind the existing dwelling at 30 Magnolia Drive. During the permitting process, 3 flower beds were identified on the plan, and the commission approved a special condition. The proposed flower beds shall be planted with species native to the Westford area. Species planted shall be documented and provided to the commission when seeking a certificate of compliance. Beyond just a poor condition of approval that, would require these people to plant things and then at the end of the project, make sure it's approved. They wanted to get approval earlier prior to planting and expending the money, which I can certainly appreciate. So they provided a planting plan by a landscape designer. So in addition to the 3 beds that were originally proposed, beds 1, 2, and 3. The remaining area was to be lawn, but as the landscape designer has proposed, they're proposing another bed here, all along the existing fence for the pool, outside the pool area, and then infilling some of the other areas between the walkways and the buildings. They were kind enough to provide a planting list and documenting which ones were native, which ones were not, which I much appreciated because the planting plan is overwhelming, particularly where, again, they're proposing 27 plantings in the 3 original beds.
And they're adding another 4 beds there. 'cause
Right, and they're adding
bed
more.
7.
So while, not all of the species within, the 3 original beds, nor all the areas within the 100-foot buffer are native species, they have.
More than enough?
It was, I was surprised by the extent, and I certainly feel that they are complying with the intent of the commission's special condition, and would, recommend or request the commission approve the planting plan as provided, and also approve the minor modification to allow some non-native species within the planting beds, and also to modify the plan to convert existing lawn or proposed lawn to plantings, as certainly better for.
Have any trouble?
None of the ones that are non-native, or are any of the non-native ones problematic?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
I have no trouble with this.
So can
So
I
you
have?
want a motion to that effect?
Yeah, motion to approve the planting plan and the minor modification to increase, or to convert proposed lawn area to planting beds.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
They have more plants than a nursery.
I was gonna say, yeah, it looks like they've more than doubled the size of the beds. Moving on to the discussion and action items. Stony Brook Conservation Area, the Broken Stony Brook Trail Memorial Bench.
I am meeting with a potential installer on Tuesday to review the site and to hopefully get a proposal and keep moving forward.
We're not using Garside, this
No.
isn't it? Okay.
It is another vendor. Jim also provided a couple other vendors.
That's fine, I just want to be
but
sure.
Yes, yeah.
That's fine.
And so we can
Because it would never happen.
certainly, we're moving forward on this and hoping to get it resolved, and,
Very good.
Thank you.
should be done soon.
And I don't know if you saw the note, but there was a late afternoon today. I think Nancy asked if she could go along with you.
Yes, I have not responded to her,
Okay.
but I am maybe I did, and we're just confirming the time.
Okay.
But yes, I did see your email.
The other thing that we confirmed is she does want the pieces of the broken bench back. So she'd like to have them at her house,
Okay.
Okay.
so.
She might have another bench at her house,
Well, and I don't know if she may be using for stepping stones or whatever, but yeah, she's made it very clear she'd like to have the pieces, so,
Okay.
Can accommodate that, certainly.
yeah.
Have to reach out to some scouts looking for service hours to, get out there with the little red
Lumps and
wagon.
stone.
Radio flyer.
Okay. Moving on to our next discussion item, the Edwards Woods Conservation Area Restoration.
Have not made as much progress since the last meeting as I'd hoped.
Who is
on
that?
this. Edwards, it's at the end of Hemlock.
Okay.
So I did.
The kid Paul Bunyan.
Okay, I got it, I got it.
Well, they've got a 4-wheeler back there and dirt bikes, and
Yeah.
they've
Mini bike,
created
yeah.
a new trail that's like for a 4-wheeler through the woods, and they're cutting down saplings and
More cutting, really?
more cutting, more dumping. So
I'll request police, increase their presence,
We have a sign? Did we say we were going to put a sign up there?
we've put signs up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are they still there?
We need to
The
start
signs were
finding.
taken down, not by us, though.
Yeah.
I thought there was some idea of who might own that 4-wheel.
Well, if you go to the end of Hemlock, number 28 Hemlock has a 4-wheeler parked right there.
It has a mini bike there, too.
And there's a mini bike there. and there's a young kid that age.
Can we do a mailing to the neighborhood?
Yes, I can do a mailing to
I would love
neighborhood,
that.
You know, just to
advise them.
remind everybody that, you know, it is conservation. But also, I know Noel had some interest in renaturalizing the area, and to give them a heads up that this would be occurring and to do not disturb it. And I may have some funds in a budget that may be being used to try and get a trail camera for, you know, documentation purposes, enforcement purposes. So,
Did you say a camera?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks.
Do we have any rules about fining people?
Yes.
So I think in any letter that advises them that the idea of a possibility.
There's strong language.
No, as long as they understand that if this happens, so does this happen.
Mhm.
That's all, in a nice way.
Yes.
Then we would have put it out.
Thanks.
The next discussion item is Burns Hill Conservation Restriction Number 41, 7 Rome Drive encroachment resolution.
This came before the commission as a discussion item at the, I don't know, maybe mid last summer. The homeowner was seeking to install a pool. There was a fence that was installed in the wrong location off of the property. In the zoning board of appeals variance decision, they were required to confirm with myself that the encroachment has been resolved. The as-built pool location plan shows the metal fence to be located on their property. They are also able to provide some photos of the area behind the fence, which is, I think this was from last fall, based upon the
Trees.
Yeah, the trees. But you can see plantings occurring, and, you know, as the area is beyond their fence, encroachment should cease. So I did sign the certificate of occupancy for the, again, kind of back behind the fence, you can see. I did sign the certificate, or the building permit for occupancy, and believe the matter to be resolved.
Okay. So can I have does this require, no motion? Okay, so it's just a status
Just an
update. Okay. Moving on to the minutes, meeting minutes, the minutes for May 10th, 2023.
Look good to me.
Did you have comments?
I just had a question because with looking at the minutes, there was a comment about that the signs that we had at EBC that talked about the leash requirements did not actually say the leash had to be attached to the dog. And we were going to update the signs.
I don't think I've updated those signs.
Because we all,
It's pretty funny.
What about the other end of the leash?
oh, the guy just had to be careful.
Come on, this is insane.
That was.
I think you're going to be very clear.
Yeah, well, but the thing was, these were the signs where Chief Chambers had also said it would be good to cite the regulation
And the fine.
and the fine, you know, so that it was clear what the enforcement was going to be. And
By the
so we
way, it
just
was
need
nice
get
to
new
see them on
signs
the
for
bike in
that.
that picture a couple of weeks back.
Yeah. So we just,
That blurb was nice for as much as people saw.
yeah, so we just, you know, so anyway, that just reminded me that we don't want to lose sight of the signs, reading the minutes. But if nobody has any comments, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for May 10th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to the minutes for May 24th, 2023.
Good too.
I just had one kind of minor modification. The discussion item about the area at the end of Hemlock Road, I thought your intent was not the intent that you have was to restore the area, not clear the area. And the minutes
Right.
have the word clear, and,
Oh, no. Well, I wanted to clear out
yeah,
what's in, like the Christmas trees and stuff like that.
right.
But, no, to restore it with native
Yeah,
species,
that you would
allow
clear
it,
and
so-
then restore, not just clear.
Yeah.
So that was, I just want to make sure that your intent was clear.
Removing
Okay.
debris.
Yep. So can I have a motion to approve the May 24th, 2023 minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, there was the executive session minutes for May 10th, 2023. Do people have a chance? Because those Matt had set out separately.
Sent us, yeah.
Yes.
Any comments or
That's fine.
corrections? Can I have a motion to approve but not release the executive session minutes for May 10th, 2023?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No site visits to record, none to schedule. So we ready to move to executive session?
Yes.
Not to come back.
Not to come back.
That's in the motion. Yeah.
That's in the motion. So, can I have a motion to enter an executive session to consider the purchase or value of real property as an open session may have a detrimental effect on the town's negotiating position and reconvene in open session solely for the purpose of adjourning the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
No. This needs to be a roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
So, all those in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
And Margaret, yes. So we are now in executive.